Welcome, everybody, to the Captain's Log, stardate June 10th, 2024. My name is Danjevin, and on the screen here, we're taking a look at Displaced Boimler, our new mega crew. Hopefully, all of us watching this video and playing the game have earned their first of 4 free copies of this legendary card. Interesting side primary card. We're going to look at the actual stats and see whether we should take action on this card early, maybe give the extra citation at all or during the next 3 events to gain a little more benefit from him. A lot more to look at with this character. Also, we're going to talk about our Faction Winner bonus that we all have available to us for the next 3 days following the Galaxy Dominion event win. Also, some news. We have an honor sale coming up this week. A little unexpected. Typically, we don't see a concurrent honor sale with a mega more than just once a year, but here we go. And in addition to that, it's Captain Picard Day, so we've got a little bit of a choice in the web store. Let's jump into that first. I want to talk about our options for the Captain Picard Day Behold. So let's go out to the in-game store here. And scroll over just a bit. Here we go. So we, those of us who have been playing Timelines for more than a year will recognize this pack. We've been given the choice between Mambo Picard, Cayman Picard, and Romulan Picard before. And let's take a look to start in a vacuum. If you have not chosen any of these, if you don't have any of these Picards in your roster, which of the 3 guaranteed pulls would be the best bet for you? To break this apart a bit, I'm going to jump on over to the data core here, and let's look at the Behold helper. I've already kind of pre-filled this Behold helper with all 3 of these cards so we can compare them side by side here. So of course all 3 legendaries, all 3 similar tier. Actually, just recently with a trait update, Romulan Picard, I believe previously was tier 7. He's dropped a little bit. Mambo Picard holding steady here. As a matter of fact, also has gained a little bit of value recently. Let's take a close look here, and sure enough, here's Playful. So this was one of the crew, and the only of the 3 that had a material change in the trait audit last week. So he's actually picked up a collection. So of the 3, you'll notice collections here, 3 total. So if you were going to start any card at all when they're all of a similar power level, I would probably side with the one that has maybe some long-term value with the collections. Another important thing that we have in favor of Mambo Picard here is his Gauntlet ability. So it's not off the charts. I see here Gauntlet rank 77. That beats the other crew we're looking at in this Behold here. I think Mambo Picard has a couple meaning 2 exactly gauntlets where he could feature as a kind of a B+ crew to bring in. His diplomacy roll can reach up to 1,000, which is pretty strong, and if you throw some equipment on him, you might be able to bump that up even further. Mambo Picard in particular has a special equipment that he can equip here, this Janeway's personal coffee mug equipment, but unfortunately it doesn't pump his primary skill. It only gives a slight base bonus of 200 to the diplomacy. His tertiary is the command roll here, so let's just take a look at how high that actually gets, and these are really pretty normal numbers here. So I wouldn't put a whole lot of stake into getting him fully fused and getting the equipment on him just for the purpose of bringing him into Gauntlet. But if you're a very early player, that's one of the advantages of having any Gauntlet crew at 1 star. They're going to get a pretty big boost, not only to their voyage ability, because you're going to earn your maximum proficiencies the moment you get them to level 100, but also you can limp into Gauntlet, bring in a slightly weaker crew that has 1 really strong roll, and that's really all you need if you can get lucky to start getting those 3-win streaks to get a chance at one of the Gauntlet Beholds. Very rare shot, but you need something to jump in the first time, and Mambo Picard could be that one that you get for free. No need to retrieve, no need to spend in the honor hall to get online for your Gauntlet. He could do it for you. Not much to look at with the ship ability. I do want to zero in on the ship abilities briefly here. So again, if you are trying to work your way up the arena ranks for whatever reason, and arena is not a real lucrative area of the game, but it's there and it's fun for the people who like ship battles. I want to point out Romulan Picard has a really important ability. Boosts evasion by 9. So if you are going into the PvP arena for ship battles, you need to have a blocker. Traditionally, a blocker is somebody that's going to activate a large evasion boost anywhere before the glut of Cretans. Really fast ships with activations at 4 seconds are going to blow you out of the water. So a crew like Romulan Picard, again, even at a low star, at 1 star, he's going to have a much lower evasion boost. But as you build him up, he's still going to maintain that 4-second initialization trigger. So even though he only has a limit of 2 uses, he's still going to at least block that initial barrage you get from the Cretans, the artifacts that all activate at 4 seconds and start throwing huge 400% damage hammers at you. So he could potentially save your ship from that initial salvo, and then you can launch your own counterattack. This is a fine crew to throw on a ship like the HMS Bounty, another one of the free ships available from Dabo that many players will max out early on, because now you can survive the initial alpha strike that Cretans throw at you, and then also just have your counterattack once your cloak has run out. So interesting card if you need that. But I think most players would probably side with Mamba Picard. I don't believe any of these crew are going to really feature very much on your voyage. So look for that very early and then very long-term benefit. And I think Mamba Picard's the winning bet here. If you do have a star or two of any of these, I think it's more or less even money. If you're a mid-range, mid-game player or an end-game player, just pick the star. Don't waste any more crew space on these old Picards. Try to work towards maximum so you can realize those collection benefits. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So, Displaced Boimler, let's see a new card to kind of cleanse the palette from all the very old cards we just looked at here. So, Displaced Boimler, we were looking at some Tier 7 and Tier 8 Picards. Here we go with a Boimler with a Tier 4, debuting at a Voyage top 50. So that's pretty fantastic. Also with an extremely high shuttle rating of top 43, owing to his very large science skill. So this skill set, let's drill down a little bit more here. I want to show you exactly how good he is on his voyage sheeting. He has no outperformers. Nobody else is going to beat him. And take a look at his exact skill orders here for Psi or Psi Dip or Psi Dip Eng. Every single one of his seats featuring number 1 starts to slip a little bit, but not too much when you start throwing in pipes and going for the ore logic. Mixing up the skills in any order, he's going to get beat by very, very recent crew. Guji, Premium Crew, Last Campaign Crew. Experienced Traveler Wesley, also another, event reward from a very recent event. Festive Guinan, about to hit the portal, but a previous campaign crew. The only crew I'm really seeing here that you can even really straight up replace him with that's in the portal is Siska the Emissary, who is a fantastic crew. If you haven't retrieved him already, you should probably get on that. But this, there's a lot of value in this particular Boimler for voyaging, and also for your Psi Shuttles. Psi Shuttles are a little more on the rare side, but they do come up from time to time. And if you need a good, strong Psi base, not only for that, but also if you're going to max him out and run him through Continuum missions, he could do the job for you. He doesn't have any unique Continuum items, just the usual 6 legendary ones. So he's really just going to kind of be your starter crew while you earn up. But what better way to start than with a 4 or 5 gold science primary crew if you just don't have another one to substitute in there. 4 collections. Not a lot of upside later on, but I do want to show you here. He starts out with 4 different complete stat boosting collections, so an excellent assortment to begin with. This all speaks to Boimler's value being today. If you are going to invest in this crew at all, you probably want to max him out now and run him out, because he is going to start slipping. This voyage rating of top 50 is good, but not high enough to sustain. I want to show you some of the other crew that are in this general range here. Let's do primary Psi. So here's a great example. So we have Professor Data, who actually beats him, even though he has a lesser voyage rank. Professor Data, a couple years old at this point, was really strong. I think it was a pack exclusive card when it came out. Once it hit the portal, primary retrieve target. But look at this voyage rank here, showing his number 88 overall with a 5222 combined skill score. Displaced Boimler beats Professor Data, but is actually ranked lower just because of the skill set. So Professor Data featuring the Psi Command Med, which is a lot more unique of a skill set than the Psi Dip Eng that we're seeing in Displaced Boimler. And so taking a little bit of an apples to apples look. So close behind we have Nil Apgar here. This is a great case because we have a Psi Sec Eng very close to Displaced Boimler's skill set. And Nil Apgar was a previous campaign crew, hit the portal, and really didn't have a whole lot of people trying to retrieve him right off the bat. He was an all-star when he was featured in his campaign, really towards the top of the voyage ratings, but he has dropped precipitously. We have so many Psi crew that have hit the game, especially Psi Dip crew, that he cannot seem to hold his place at all. So I feel like we have the same future in store for Displaced Boimler. In the long run, you're probably not going to see a lot of value after the first year of him being in service in your roster. But if your plan is to, let's say you wanted to wait until he hit the portal and then finally get a star to finish off Displaced Boimler, his value is already going to have passed. He will not have picked up any more collections in that time. He's probably not at that point going to be the top Voyager for you. There'll be other candidates that have been power crept up and are going to see those psi and psi dip seats on the voyages. So if you're going to get any value out of them, do it today. And so the question is, do you do it early on in the mega, or do you do it after the mega's over, trying to pull from recaps? That all depends on whether you got your copies of Warship Tours. If you're still planning, if you maybe missed out in the top 1500 of this past Galaxy event, and you did not get a copy of Warship Tours to star up, you might want to think about pulling on Mega Recap Packs, getting a copy of her. And if you do, you may actually finish off that Displaced Boimler. So if you have any hope of pulling on Mega Recap Packs at all, do not put your star on Boimler today. Wait till the end. If you're going to opt out of those Mega Recap Packs, if you've got your Tours, if you're happy with where you're at, then I think it's pretty safe to put your star on Boimler, but wait until after the skirmish event. Our skirmish event coming up does not see any benefit to having fully fused, maxed out, even level 100 crew. Putting any level of crew on your ship to do ship battles with is going to be enough to get you full bonuses, and there's really not a whole lot of material benefit to doing that. So once you're done with your skirmish event, we'll know a little bit more about what the rest of the mega is going to feature, if there's any other stronger crew that you may want to either compete for or pull recap packs on. And if that's the case, then you can make your decision on whether to put the star for Boimler on whatever comes later, whether it's the hybrid, the faction, whatever we're going to finish with. So he's a fair crew, and I would absolutely advocate putting the star on sooner rather than later. But just, if you're going to pull on recap packs, give it some time. So what happens if you don't have that citation? No worries. I mentioned the honor sale's coming up. Hopefully you've been banking your honor dutifully for the past 3 months, and you've got at least 40,000 saved up so that you can redeem that for a citation plus a Behold, a all legendary Behold. We'll talk more in depth about the honor sale in tomorrow's video and give you a few tips and tricks on how to really maximize your earnings from that. But for now, I do want to show one other big benefit in the game right now. We're going to showcase just a little bit of gameplay on the Faction Winner bonus and how to take advantage of that. Let's jump back over to timelines here, and we'll take a look at our event winner, Dominion. So an excellent faction to have win because it's got some pretty good faction-only equipment that are needed, especially the 0-star Dominion seal, and also there's a pad that's used in a lot of builds. They also show up in weird places like some Cardassian builds in addition to all the Dominion cards in the game. So, let's take a look. I'm going to show you how I run just fundamentally just a few of these faction winner bonuses. Now, your mileage may vary. I already have Dominion shuttles tanked, meaning that they're at the easiest possible level, the quickest possible completion of 30 seconds. If you are just starting the game and you've just kind of been running shuttles as you need them, you're probably up at the 3-hour mark, so you're going to be waiting a little while to get these benefits. When you do, though, when you start earning them, even at the 3-hour time frame, you're still going to be getting bonus crons, bonus credits, and especially bonus gold trainers for those early game players that are trainer locked and they can't get their crew to maximum level. The faction winner bonus is just a fantastic windfall for you. So take advantage of it, no matter whether you've prepped or not for it. But I'll show you what it looks like when you've been able to prep. If you've been able to fail enough shuttles to get your difficulty back down to the easiest possible level, it's going to start out here at 30 seconds. So let's take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and fill this shuttle up with crew that just do not match. So crew that do not have the matching skill. So this is going to reduce this to a baseline of 14% chance of victory. You can't go lower than this, so I'll show you why we're doing this in a second. First, I'm going to send the shuttle, but I'm not going to hit complete. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to start creating a little bit of a bank of failed shuttles. We call them fail boats. Just continuing to pick the worst crew that I have laying around in my inventory. I'm going to do this, I think a good number is usually about 6 times. It's enough to help pad out whether you get some really bad runs of luck. You can do more depending on which faction you're running, but I think generally this is a pretty good place to start. 8 is a little safer. I don't think there's a need to go to 10. But we'll do 6 to start here just to kind of spare the viewers. So we've got 6 failed boats here. At any time, if I need to get a failure to get my time back down to a quicker time, then these are going to be here for me. So let's run a few successful shuttles here and take a look at our faction event winner bonus. So we're going to scroll all the way back up to the top. We're going to pick some strong legendary crew here. We're going to send and complete these shuttles. So it normally says 30 seconds, but anything under 30 minutes during the faction winner bonus is going to be an instant complete. So here's our first completion, and here we go. All right, so we've got a little bit of chronotons. Sometimes you'll get component drops. Sometimes you'll get credits. I think you get credits about 25% of the time. And here we go. We've got some dynamic officer training, gold trainers that are coveted by anybody in the early game. First couple of months of the game, this is the time to earn your trainers. We'll continue here. Some pretty good components drop from this also. The power cells and the synthesized polymers are useful. So let's keep going. We have on the next run here, it says 2-minute completion time, but we're still less than a half hour, so we can run and complete this. And then we get one more try. Ooh, look at this. Credits and trainers. Excellent. We're going to do one more time. This shows at 10 minutes. And when it says 10 minutes, you know this is going to be your final successful shuttle run. And now we need to start failing to get ourselves back down. So that's 3 wins in a row. And then we're going to follow it up with 2 failures. So let's go ahead and try to fail the next 2 shuttles. I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom again. Pick anybody at the bottom. They are not going to match. There's a 14% chance of success. We're going to fail this boat. We're going to try completing it. And all right, we successfully failed. So that means that this is going to bring us down, but not quite. We're down to the 2-minute mark. We need to get down to the 30-second mark. So 2 failures in a row. 1, 2. We're going to complete this. Failed successfully. So we are back down to baseline. So that's 3 up, 2 down. 3 wins in a row, 2 failures in a row. Run this again and again. As much as you have the heart and stamina for it, because this is probably one of the most mind-numbingly boring ways to get ahead in the game as possible. But once you get used to it, you get pretty good at just running it autonomously. This is another one of those things, like running the Galaxy event is just mindless. You just clickety-clack, and especially with Skirmish too, it's just hitting the same button sequence in a row. And you start to get very used to just running these. You can maybe even talk extemporaneously while you're running a YouTube video, and you can still do your failed shuttles. If you do wind up getting in a situation where you succeed while you're back on the way down again, so if you're trying to run a failure and you succeed, and you get into a situation where if you would happen to open up a new shuttle mission, and it would be more than 30 minutes, let's say you've won 3 in a row, you're trying to fail your first one, and it comes back as a success. Then you start to dip into these over here, these shuttles that you have saved up as failures. So for each extra victory that you did not intend to get, just go ahead and take a failure. So 1 up, 1 down. That makes the math very easy for you. And then you'll be able to kind of keep yourself in order. And then once you get your shuttles failed down to the point where they're under 30 minutes again, go ahead and replenish. So you have a good stockpile here, but if you start to get lean on these and you've used a few of them up, go ahead and run but not complete a few more to fill that back up again. You'll be good to go. Some people run these very consistently throughout the Faction Winner bonus. I don't think for the Dominion you really need to hit this very hard. I would maybe put a half hour into it. Watch your favorite show and get a little bit of a bonus. Replenish your chronotons maybe if you had to spend a bunch on the Galaxy event by getting those Faction Winner bonus chronoton drops. But really save your time. And your merits also for when we get a really juicy, like Section 31 as a Faction Winner bonus is fantastic. Get all those holo programs that you need. A few others that I'd recommend, maybe augments as well. But Dominion, put a little time in, but don't go nuts on it. Anyways, that's all we got today. Thanks for joining us for the Captain's Log. See you next time. Live long and prosper.